This is CNN.
Regularly scheduled programming will not be seen at this time, so we can bring you the CNN special.
New faces in the White House. Relentless bloodshed in the former Yugoslavia.
Can we all get along? Can we get along?
And the on-again, off-again magic in professional basketball. Here now, the year in review.
1992, a year of political change in the U.S., economic uncertainty around the world, and continuing conflict for many nations. In a moment, we will take a closer look at the year's events. But first, the top story making news at this hour. For the first time in 12 years, Republicans lost their lease on the White House, and the Democrats prepared to move in. But before the '92 campaign was over, a very rich Texan running as an independent proved the viability of a third-party candidate.
On this day, with high hopes and brave hearts, in massive numbers, the American people have voted to make a new beginning.
Change. That's what the 1992 presidential campaign was all about. Change and the economy.
Now it's our turn. We want
Early in the year in snowy New Hampshire, the messages that would echo throughout the campaign began to take shape.
We can change America.
You know better than I do the friends that have lost jobs, the old neighbors who have moved out never to return.
The cards have been stacked by Reagan and Bush against the working people of this country.
I think this election is about making America great again, restoring the middle class.
Like many Americans, the people of New Hampshire were in economic pain. Many blamed George Bush.
This country is hurting. People are hurting. You're going to see a lot of quick fixes that will supposedly turn the economy around. I don't believe we need them.
GOP rival Patrick Buchanan helped fuel the anger at Bush.
He promised us 30 million new jobs. New Hampshire has lost 55,000.
Though the president won the GOP primary in New Hampshire, Buchanan embarrassed him by getting more than a third of the vote.
This country has been ripped apart for a decade by the politics of selfishness and greed.
Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton was an early favorite among the 6 major Democratic candidates, a field that shrank to 5 at the start of the year. But Clinton and his message of economic fairness got sidetracked.
Yes, I was Bill Clinton's lover for 12 years.
I said I got a ROTC deferment instead of the draft, and when I decided that was not the right thing to do, I put myself back into the draft.
With Clinton's candidacy reeling, another man with an economic plan won New Hampshire's Democratic primary.
People want to know what a battle plan would be for the economy, and that's why we did so well.
Clinton overcame predictions of his political doom and came in second.
New Hampshire tonight has made Bill Clinton the comeback kid.
And come back he did. Wins in his native South and beyond made Clinton the frontrunner again. Heading into the New York primary in April, Jerry Brown was the only major Democrat still challenging Clinton and the status quo.
It's a campaign to drive the money lenders out of the temple of power and put the people back in.
Again, Clinton stumbled.
When I was in England, I experimented with marijuana a time or two, and I didn't like it, and didn't inhale, and never tried it again.
Again, Clinton recovered. He won New York, and from then on, there was little question he would win his party's nomination.
Sure enough, sure enough.
Thank you very much.
President Bush won every GOP primary. After a strong showing in Georgia, the Buchanan campaign fizzled, bruised, and so was Clinton. And that created an opening for a political phenomenon.
If you're that serious, you, the people, are that serious,
You register me in 50 states.
That remark sparked a grassroots drive to make Ross Perot, in his folksy way, the Texas billionaire gave voice to the voters' demand for a better economy and political reform.
You won't find me in ceremonies. You won't find me in the Rose Garden. You'll find me buried on the key issues that face this country.
Perot's undeclared independent campaign attracted thousands of calls and thousands of volunteers. As Bush and Clinton were ending their primary season, Perot was leading the national polls. It had become a three-way contest, unlike any other.
Sister Soldier, on the other hand, was used as a vehicle, like Willie Horton, and various other black victims.
It doesn't help matters when primetime TV has Murphy Brown mocking the importance of fathers by bearing a child alone and calling it just another lifestyle choice.
I do not spend my time investigating other people.
By the summer, Perot's campaign had begun to self-destruct, while Clinton's began to soar with the help of his newly named running mate, Senator Al Gore.
Throughout American history, each generation has passed on leadership to the next. That time has come again.
In contrast, Perot's remarks to the NAACP proved politically damaging.
Your people do. Your people do. I know that. You know that.
After years of internal warfare, the Democrats put on a remarkable show of unity at their convention in New York.
We need Bill Clinton because he is our only hope for change from this nation's current disastrous course. We have got to go beyond the brain-dead politics in Washington and give our people the kind of government they deserve, a government that works for them.
Just hours before Clinton accepted his party's nomination, Perot dropped a bombshell.
I will not become a candidate.
While the Democrats were riding high, Bush faced a host of headaches, including a campaign in disarray. So James Baker left his job as Secretary of State to be White House Chief of Staff and de facto campaign boss. Republicans hoped their convention in Houston would revive Bush's campaign. The president made an appeal to Americans' pocketbooks.
Proposed to further reduce taxes across the board, provided we pay for these cuts with specific spending reductions that I consider appropriate so that we do not increase the deficit.
But it was a sometimes strident pitch for family values that stole the show.
There is a religious war going on in this country. It is a cultural war as critical to the kind of nation we shall be as the Cold War itself.
Bush barely got a bounce from his convention. He kicked off the general election campaign, vowing to make a comeback like another embattled incumbent.
Harry Truman ran and is an underdog, just as I am, and he liked it, and so do I.
In the heat of the fall campaign, Ross Perot claimed the candidates weren't paying enough attention to his top economic issue, the deficit. So he shook up the race again.
Volunteers in all 50 states have asked me to run as a candidate for President of the United States.
Perot officially jumped back into the campaign a month before Election Day. He launched a series of costly infomercials on the economy that drew a huge audience. Perot was invited to join Bush and Clinton in 3 debates. The president took aim at Clinton's protests against the Vietnam War when he was a college student in London.
I think it's wrong to demonstrate against your own country or organize demonstrations against your own country in foreign soil.
While Bush talked of character, Clinton and Perot focused mostly on economics and change.
Mr. Bush, for 12 years, you've had it your way. You've had your chance, and it didn't work. It's time to change.
I don't have any experience in running up a $4 trillion debt.
You're pulling a Clinton. Now you want to waffle around on it.
In the only vice presidential debate, Dan Quayle and Al Gore traded barbs.
Can you really trust